Welcome, everyone, to another episode. Look at us doing 3 in a row, guys. That has to count for... Wait, this is 4th in a row? No, it's only been 3.
Yeah.
Okay, well, they don't hire me for my attention to detail
Or
around here.
counting skills.
No, that either. I really am bad at math, and forgetting things contributes to my badness at math. Anyway, you know what I wanted to talk about today a little bit was I saw on Instagram when I was promoting an episode of Up the Waterfall podcast on Up the Waterfall show.
Ooh.
On Instagram, Walt Dated World, which, you know, we love that site.
Yes,
We've
yes,
actually used it on 2 episodes ago when we
Good
were
reference
looking
site.
up old things or something like that. Yeah. So they have a lot of the vintage Disney things from the parks and all sorts of stuff. But on Instagram, they just post like a hodgepodge of different things. And they posted today, well, I don't know what day it was because Instagram is never really chronological anymore.
Quite true.
But I saw it today, and it was, you know, the Donald Duck thing that I have where you squish his hands and he walks?
I do know that.
It was the Mickey Mouse version of that.
Wait, what?
Yeah. And so I was like, I commented, and I was like, I have the same thing, except it's Donald. But also his feet are falling off. I mean, they really are completely off now. But so he can't really, I mean, he can still walk, but he doesn't get very far. So it made me think.
What a memory.
Yeah. I honestly don't know. Again, this will be like when my mom listens to this, she can make her commentary if she remembers how I came into possession of this Donald Duck, because my sister and brother are 9 and 10 years older than me. So I had a lot of my own new toys. I was very spoiled, I will admit. My mother likes to say I wasn't spoiled. I was just very loved with possessions. But anyway, I wasn't super
Still
spoiled.
are
Like
to this day.
I always wanted bunk beds, and I didn't have those. And I always wanted an easy bake oven, and I didn't have that either.
What?
Literally never had an easy bake oven or a Snoopy snow cone maker.
Whoa.
I got one of those when I had kids, and I was very excited about it. But I digress yet again. So some of the toys that I had growing up, I don't know if they were like inherited from my siblings' like 60s childhoods or what. Because I know I got a bunch of weird Barbies from my sister, like a Charlie's Angels Barbie and like a weird 60s Barbie airplane and stuff like that. But I don't know if these were given to me, and I don't know the circa year that, you know, these Donald and Mickey things were made.
The only Barbie that I remember my sister's having was one of Cher.
I had the Cher Barbie.
Yeah. Of Sonny and Cher.
Was
fame.
that your youngest sister that had that? Because
It
we're
was
kind
Lisa.
of close in age. Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
I wonder if
who's about 18 months older than me.
I feel like the Cher was really one that I got, but in the 80s. And there was something about her, like she could tan or something. Like you could
She was
put
pretty
her
tan
out in the
already.
sun, and you could put stickers on her. And then I could be thinking of another Barbie. I don't know.
I don't recall anything like that. I just remember she had very thick hair.
It was very long also,
Very long
which
and, yeah,
is,
thick
you know,
black hair.
Cher had very long hair in real life. So yeah, I don't know the origin of these toys and what year they were made. I suppose I could go get the Donald right now, but he's like his little foam rubber stuffing comes out of his foot holes.
Yeah,
So I
he's
don't really
in
want
the
to.
hospital right now.
Yeah. And then, so I just was thinking of like the oldest or weirdest collectible, I guess, that I have. Because you don't really have any like vintage toy type things. You just have book things.
Right. I don't remember having a lot of toys growing up. I think I was given box to play in. No, but I do remember having.
Did you have stick to go with
I
box?
had Lincoln Logs. I had Hot Wheels cars.
Oh yeah.
Some.
Did you have Army guys?
Little Army men and dinosaurs. And yeah, the Army men and the dinosaurs, they all played together. And then I also remember having a Nerf football.
Wow. Did it have like a bite taken out of it?
It had,
I feel like Nerf footballs always had bites taken out.
There was a lot of, it aged poorly because I played with it too much.
And then if you get it wet, then it's like a sponge.
Yeah.
Well, it makes it way heavier, so you can throw it at people.
Yeah, that's true.
I do also remember having, are you ready for this? Back in the day, this is no longer a fun toy to have. I had a rifle, a toy rifle.
Like a BB gun?
No. It was
An
not a
air
BB gun.
rifle?
No, not at all. It did not shoot anything.
Oh, it was just
actual.
like a real, just toy one.
Yeah.
Was it from Frontierland in Disneyland?
No, it was not from the parks. I actually don't remember getting anything from the Disney parks.
I always wanted
Isn't
that.
that
as a
weird?
kid. They had them in Adventureland, and we would always see it walking out.
Yeah.
And be like, wow, I would like to have that.
What about the pop guns? Don't they still have those or no? I guess not. I never hear the popping noises.
No.
Did they used to
And
sell
that's-
potato guns or am I...
No.
Okay. I guess that was just I don't know what decade that's from, but
But you also did refer to the books, and I do remember having and I still have it to this day, an old like a Disney Storytime book. That is my oldest book that I have. Yes, and the spine is ripped off, and
like a Golden Books one?
it's
or
not a golden
like
book.
a bigger,
it's,
thick
it's,
one?
Yeah, it's a compilation of several stories.
I feel like I must have had
including The
one
Ugly
of those
Duckling.
too, but I don't remember.
Yeah.
But I did have like weird albums too, because I had a Fisher-Price record player that was plastic.
Actually, Christian, you might even be able to look this up if you're looking these things up. I do remember it was like it had 50. It was a collection of 55 stories, and I know that it had that number on the front cover. I did later get a duplicate of that so that I could have a nice mint version of that same book, but it had a red cover. I think it had the word Storyland on the front. Yeah, there he is. That's it.
Oh, wow. Do you still have it?
I absolutely do.
Wait,
Yep.
I feel like I've seen it before, actually.
Yeah, it's in I have a collection of like meaningful books to me, and that's absolutely the first one because that's the one I remember. That's really the only vintage book that I have from my early childhood. Yeah.
It does say Golden Book on it, by the way.
Fun.
Look at me knowing
But it's not a
publishers
golden
or
book in
something.
that it's not a single
Yeah.
story. Does it say that there's a collection of 55?
I can see the 55 from here.
Nice. So yeah, my memory's somewhat still intact.
Can you name all 55 right now?
No, I cannot, but I do know that the Ugly Duckling is one of them, and the little Toot.
Little
was another
Toot.
one.
Wait, I wonder if I had that book.
Probably, it's a very popular
No,
one.
I feel like I just looked at yours and now I'm attaching those memories to. Well, maybe I did.
But I
don't
mean,
know.
it was like short. Some of them were shortened versions of the animated films, or even like the hero sections. Like for example, the Johnny Appleseed section.
That was in there.
I believe so.
Wow.
But it would be like smaller versions. I remember Bongo was in there, I believe. Yeah. So that would be my treasured childhood toy, even though it's a book. As I said, the spine is completely ripped off. The cover is separated from the bulk of the book, but I still have the original one.
That's very on brand for you. Some other things that I have that are ancient are that weird rubber Mickey that's out there.
Oh, yeah.
And then the Dumbo. I think Dumbo might be like super ancient.
I know. I do remember one of my three sisters probably had that, and I remember that being in our childhood or in the home. Yeah.
I don't know if that, like I don't know where they came from. They just were always in my room. And some of them might have been from when I went to visit my grandmother's house. She always had weird older toys there too. So I don't know. But anyway, all because I saw that Instagram and I had no idea that there was a Mickey version of the weird Donald thing. I also have that. Wait, maybe it's not Donald's feet that are coming off. Donald is
what?
fully intact, everyone.
Well, whose feet are coming off?
The Mickey pull string one where he says, "My name is Mickey Mouse. I come from Walt Disney World." I think I played that on
Yes, you did.
a previous podcast,
I
and
do
I don't
remember
want to
that.
go get it now because it sounded scary enough when I played it
Yeah.
whenever that was 2 or 3 years ago.
That
Oh, he's pulling
And
up.
there's no way to remember which of our old
Wait, I
episodes
can see it from
had
here.
that.
It's
Yeah, I
the
can too.
second row down. Yes, that one. So those feet are off, and
That
there's foam rubber coming
is
out
kind
of
of
him.
scary looking.
Yeah.
You were saying that you were going to go get something.
Yeah.
The Donald one. I was thinking it was this, and I did not want you to go get it because I did not want this in here.
It's very scary. Oops, I just dropped a phone. Yeah, and that literally was mine. I think that I got it because it says I come from Walt Disney World. So this was from when the park first opened. And I
wow.
think my dad's mom, my grandma Lucy, got me this perhaps when the park first opened. Or I don't know if it was like, park official or anything, but yeah. And I literally used to sleep with it, and I would, much like Andy with Woody, I would pull his little pull string at night, and he would talk to me, and he would say, "You're my best friend."
Oh, you had a friend.
And I would listen to all of his different phrases. But now, sadly, which is so weird, like I have no idea what the mechanism is in there. I probably sound stupid for not knowing, but whatever
I
it
would have
is
no idea.
in there, like why does it get garbled and scary? It's not like it's battery operated.
I do not know.
That should be a how it works or whatever. How it's made, that show?
Yeah,
Do
that
they
would
still
be
make that?
interesting.
How do they make pull
There's like a
toys? Do they
little-
even still make them
Like
anymore?
there's like a little voice box in there somewhere
Yeah.
that it comes from. I do not know.
You should look up the walking Donald Duck one. I don't know what it would be.
And you have that one
You have to
fully
write
intact.
ancient in the search bar.
When I was looking up the book, I put like Disney, whatever, like Disney storybook old at the end.
Yeah,
And that's what came up.
Well, luckily it had the word "story" in the title of the book. It was Storyland.
Oh, see,
Not
these are
all
like
one word.
very vintage, beyond my amount of vintage.
didn't
Like
have this?
tin toys. No.
I love that they have that because that one is from like the
The
Wise Old
original
Hand. Yeah,
long billed Donald.
yeah, the original from 1934. That's right. Yeah, he turns what 90 this year.
Wow. Oh, that's
Or
right. We
turned
just
90
saw
this year.
Yeah, we
in
just saw
June.
his coffee in Joffrey's Coffrees, the 90th anniversary edition.
That's right.
You'd probably have to do something like, I don't even know what you would search for, like squishy hands
Or
make walk.
Xanaland old toy.
No, I've never posted about it.
Xanaland's only friend.
That's it.
Oh, wow.
Are you kidding
And I
me?
still have the hat for him,
Wow.
which he comes with the hat. Is this an eBay listing? How much can I sell this Donald for?
You can list it for as much as you want.
$22.95.
But
Aw, that's
how much will you
sad.
actually sell it for?
I'm not
That's
going
the-
to sell it. I looked up the Dumbo that I have that's just like a weird made out of actual rubber Dumbo with like his ears are kind of floppy rubber. Because I'm pretty sure that's the oldest thing that I have that somehow I had. I don't know where it came from. But even that wasn't worth a lot. So it's all just sentimental
That's
value. Wow. You're being an amazing Google master tonight, Chris.
Wow.
It's just toy name plus old.
How sad. Does it say what year that is from or anything?
This is the actual thing.
Yeah. $11.
Well, this also says Hong Kong vintage.
Oh, weird.
So
Well, it was probably made in Hong Kong back then. Like,
I believe that's 1941.
maybe that was one of my grandmother's things then that she had given to, I don't know. Who's to say? Maybe it was my mom's old toy
Maybe.
because she was
I mean, when I
born
said that
before
year, that was the year the
Dumbo was a thing.
The movie came out, so I was just playing.
So she would have been like a playing with toys age when Dumbo came out. I don't know. I'll have to ask her. What do you think is your most prized possession Disney wise right now? Or do you not want to say it out loud? People might come and. Do you have anything that isn't a book?
I mean, I do have some things that are not books, but mostly what I have is books. I have a lot of pins, but I don't necessarily prize them.
I was going to ask you about the pins too. That
Well, I
was going to
mean-
be topic number 2.
No, I mean, the thing is, I started collecting pins before pin collecting became a thing. And I
Right.
remember that actually kind of became a thing.
Before it became a Disney sanctioned activity.
I remember the first big line for a pin was on December 31st, 1999 at Epcot. They had a Millennium pin. But no, at one time I visited Disneyland in the late 1990s. It was probably the trip that I took there in 1992.
That's early 1990s for the record.
Okay. Well, there was another trip in 97 that it could have been.
Okay.
But I'm now starting to think it was the 92 trip. But anyway, I went to the Disneyland Hotel from there back when it was a lot bigger and more robust. And I went to the gift shop there, and I discovered these pins. And there was one pin each for each of the old attractions at Disneyland. And I had never heard of Disney pins before. I'd never seen them before.
Magical piece of metal?
And there was like one for each of these old vintage attractions, and I just had to have them all.
Wow.
And so I probably purchased right then and there maybe about 50 pins, one of each of those. And I thought this was just the neatest
there was
thing.
50 different attractions?
Yeah, something like that.
Sheesh.
Yeah, there was like one for each of the little things on Main Street even.
Wow.
Plus all of the lands around. So I just thought it was the neatest thing. And that was, as I said, before pin trading, before pin collecting. I just got all these and I thought, oh, this is really neat. Like a little neat keepsake for each of these old things. And then pin collecting took off. And of course, they made them about everything. And so I just kind of got into it from that, and I started buying pins and selling pins, and it was actually, and this was of course right after the Millennium, and I do remember in a 2-month span, I had purchased and then sold pins, that I got at full retail value. And I was able to, at that point, finance essentially my library.
Whoa.
I was able to, over a 2-month span on eBay, because that's also right around when I discovered what eBay was, I was able to essentially buy my I filled in all of the holes of my library, where I went from like having 20 books to hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of books.
Wow. eBay is so different now.
Yeah.
But I started it back in 1999 also, when I had just had a baby. And I was like, what should I do with my life now? And I had a bunch of things that I had collected when I worked at Disney, briefly. Because I think I've said before that I worked on, I know I've said before that I worked on Main Street USA. And the last place I worked before I left was Uptown Jewelers.
Ooh. Oh, I used to go there all the time.
And at the time, in the mid-90s,
That's when I went there.
limited edition collector's pieces of watches were
Yes.
super in fashion, I guess.
That is the exact time when I was obsessed with Disney watches.
Yeah. It's funny because like now that is not a thing at all because you
Nope.
don't need a watch because you have a phone or you have an Apple Watch.
I do not have any kind of watch that I use now.
Yeah, because you have a phone. But they were super fun. And that's probably, you were talking about when you first found pins. I don't really remember that at all. I think we definitely got the those light up 100 years of is that what that was? 100 years of magic?
I don't.
Those were like those gigantic ones that lit
that's
up.
true. And they had the
So you could, they were supposed to interact with like a parade or something.
Yeah.
Their first attempt, perhaps, at that.
That technology has certainly evolved over time.
Yeah, now you have a magic band. But the only other pins that I really ever got, I think, were ones that came with some of the watches. Like every now and then, like I'm pretty sure the lunchbox ones, you remember those? I think they came with a pin with them.
I don't specifically remember those.
Oh,
no.
okay. Well, let me tell you all about them. They came in a little miniature lunchbox, which would later be, a Disney purse style that they come out with. I think there's like that weird Country Bears lunchbox thing that they had.
Oh, wow.
Oh, that's a lame Winnie the Pooh one, though. I had like, so they had a whole series of them. And then in addition to being, yes, those are them. The parks ones, they also had ones that were available at the Disney store. Yeah, isn't that cool? And so each one, so we're looking at a miniature lunchbox, and it's kind of, there's a watch placed in it, and there's a little like background artwork to go with this as a Peter Pan one. And so for that particular watch, the face of it was kind of like faceted.
Yes.
And yeah, so like each one was different like that. And occasionally I would wear them, but I knew that I just wanted to save them and collect them forever. And then eBay came around and I got rid of a lot of them, but I was sad to get rid of them, and I kind of wish I had kept them, even though all the batteries would be dead now.
Well, see, that reminded me of one of the aspects about watches that I loved was the tins that they came in. Yeah. But the watches that I shopped for were always like very classic, elegant style that had Disney art in them. But then they always came in these fancy tins, and I used to really enjoy that, and I still have all of them, each and every one. So, and I probably got maybe 10 to 15 watches in total. And I used to wear them, but that was back in the 90s.
Yeah. And they, beyond these lunchbox ones, they had some, what did they call them? Like, I don't know if they were the Animator series. It might have been that, because there was a Mark Davis one that was Maleficent.
Okay.
And I can't remember all the different people that they were themed after, but there was a Hunchback one that came in a super cool resin book that opened.
Fancy.
And yeah. Oh, also the Shadow watch. Did you have that one?
I don't know.
You know the poster of Walt in his little vest, and then his shadow is Mickey.
Absolutely.
That I was like pretty obsessed with that image in the 90s for some reason. And so I had like the poster that was framed, and then I think I still have the watch, actually. I didn't sell everything. I mean, look at how cool that is.
Yeah.
But I would never wear it now. But in the 90s, it was cool.
That is a very classic image. I remember it when they re-released the Walt biography with that on the cover.
Yeah.
I got that.
Oh, good times.
Very.
Yeah, so I still have a few. That may be one of them. I have an Alien Encounter watch.
Ooh, that's a strange one.
And another one that happened, which I'm pretty sure I posted this on Twitter back in the day or something. I don't know if I made a blog post about it. But it was from a science fiction convention that happened in Disney, also in the 90s. I can't remember what it was called now. I'm going to have to look for the watch. But it was kind of an Alien Encounter-ish watch that was just in a metal tin. And
that's so strange.
Yeah.
I wonder if it was a fictional convention that
maybe
took place at the Tomorrowland Convention Center, which is
you
remember
could be right,
the 1990s,
honestly.
The Tomorrowland redo from then when the Alien Encounter came out. There were a lot of, I think that attraction, for example, did take place in the Tomorrowland Convention Center.
Yeah. There's the Alien Encounter watch, but I can't remember if I still have that or the other thing. Maybe that's what was inside the other thing, and
I think
outside
that would
just
be
looks
scary.
What is that one? That looks really cool.
This is just a pin.
Oh. But yeah, I think maybe some of them towards the end came with a pin because maybe they were trying to pave the way for pins.
Yes.
And then I became obsessed with pins in the early 2000s. But they were already well established then, and I was like, I'm not collecting pins. That's dumb. But then I discovered that there was a place called Tokyo, and they had different pins there
yes.
from the Disney stores all over the world, not just Disney parks. There was a whole different set of pins in the stores.
When I went to the Tokyo parks in 2010 and 2011, one of the things that I noticed is that they did not sell pins there. There were no postcards. Back then, there were no T-shirts and also no pins.
Well, it was probably from the Disney store then, because
I didn't go to the Disney store there. This was the parks this is the stores in the Disney parks there.
I was very into Tinkerbell also at this point in my life.
Also, Mark Davis.
Yeah, exactly.
Creation.
So I said to myself, you're going to only collect Tinkerbell pins, and then you won't go crazy. I'm not sure if you're aware.
That's a better way to do it.
Well, have you met me before? Because
Yes,
I do
have.
tend to get obsessed with things and then want to collect
you do.
everything from a thing.
That is very true. But that was the problem with me and Disney pins, is I didn't just narrow it down to a single character. I got them all.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. And so at some point I realized, oh, wait, they can literally make pins about anything. And so I just had to quit cold turkey because there was no end to it.
Right.
But sorry, you were saying about Tinkerbell.
Oh, no, I was just saying that there was so many different pins that were like exclusive to Japan or whatever and like limited, and it just became too much. And I recognized that I had a problem and I cut myself off cold turkey and I sold all of them back again. So I don't even remember what any of them were at this point. But
yeah, I still have all of mine.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy. And, maybe we should go through those at some point.
I think I do need to do this.
We'll have a Up the Waterfall estate sale or tag sale. But yeah, so after that, I kind of collected, I did over the years, they started doing those weird pins where they would destroy an attraction.
Yeah.
I mean,
and there
they
would
already
be
had plans to destroy it.
tiny
Like,
piece of the
so I have
attraction,
somewhere
like in a bubble.
the piece of 20,000 Leagues.
Wow. I never did get, I think I had quit by that point.
Yeah. So somewhere I have that. I don't even know where it is, honestly. Maybe I don't have it anymore. But
you do.
A few of those, and then those silly light up ones from whatever year that 100 Years of Magic was. And then I kind of stopped.
2001.
Oh, yeah. So if I ever get pins that come with something, I save them. Like if you do a tour or something like that, you get a pin.
Yeah, I still have all of those.
Yeah. I just, because, what are you going to do? Like sell one pin on eBay? It's just, I mean, you have many to sell. I guess I could just throw them in your pile.
I have thousands and thousands.
Yeah.
And thousands of pins.
And I think we talked about previously these little wishable guys that I became briefly obsessed with too. And honestly, do they still even make them? I don't know. I feel like I just saw
and I remember you were obsessed with Tsum Tsums at one point.
Yeah, Tsum Tsums. I have a whole bag full of Tsum Tsums. I was going to say after pins, I got into years later Vinylmation.
Oh, yeah?
Which I do still have an entire very large cardboard box full of Vinylmation. And yes, I still think those were really cool. Like I would put those out on display if I had shelves or something.
I like the
dust.
Parks, the Parks collection specifically.
Yeah, the Parks ones were cool. And then, but I liked some of the unique art styles. And then they had ones specific to like, there's a New York City Disney store one that someone gave me. And I never thought I would ever go there, but now I've been there twice or more times. I don't remember.
At least twice.
But then they started doing those weird ones that were like a different shape than the other
Yeah.
Vinylmations. And I was like, man, I don't want to collect those too. So I again cut myself off.
Gotta at some point just
Yeah.
because there's no end to
But
it.
That's rude of them, really, because they're not playing within their own rules.
exactly.
right.
But that's the thing too, is like they create the demand for these things.
It works every single
It turned
time,
into
though.
Tsum Tsums from that, and they created a whole like game, which I think still exists, the Tsum Tsums game,
Yeah,
which I
it
also
does.
was obsessed with.
Yes, sure.
And then the Wishables, and now it's
Those munchable
the
things.
Munchlings.
Munchlings.
Yeah. Oh, and also those things that I don't even know what those are called now, where you can put clothes on them. Nuimos.
Nuimos, yeah.
Like, what does that mean? Where did that come from?
Idea. Yeah, but like, hey, we have a lot of Disney snacks here. What we should do is take the weirdest Disney snack and make a stuffed Disney character toy out of it.
Right.
It's
but
brilliant.
They
We'll
know
make them
people will
collectible,
buy it.
and people do buy them.
Especially, I blame Instagram, honestly,
Oh yeah.
because I used to post pictures of my freaking Vinylmation on Instagram, probably. Must be at least one picture back in there. I don't know. But yeah, it's just like they know, okay, just like the food items they have now too. They know like this is going to look good on camera, so let's make it this way, even if it doesn't taste good. Or even if,
Yeah, that's the cupcakes for you right there.
And honestly, I feel like not all of them have been successes, which is why they keep pivoting to new
I think they all have been successes.
for a
But,
time, but then they stop making them
Yeah.
and move on to something else. Like the Tsum Tsums don't exist anymore, I don't think.
Who knows?
Who's to say? We need to get Stephen Miller in here to have a merchandising conversation. I guess he doesn't do that anymore. Anyway. He's in external communications now.
But he is responsible for all of this.
It's all his
the way
fault.
from the Disney pins. To
He was
anything.
in charge of the Disney pins at one point in time. But yeah,
Absolutely
and popcorn buckets. We haven't even talked about that.
my gosh.
Which you really don't like that I like some popcorn buckets. I don't get all of them. Like right now, they just came out with one that's a gingerbread house. And it's like, okay, guys, like it's
just-
so
they're-
big.
They're so big and bulky.
Yeah.
Like, what
But
are
the
you gonna
ones
do
that
with
look
it?
like this one that I made you plan a secondary trip to Disneyland just to get this balloon.
Yeah, that is how obsessed you were with
Yeah, there's the
popcorn
gingerbread
buckets.
one.
Is there is a popcorn bucket that we have that we had to plan an entire trip to Disneyland from Florida for that one bucket. We flew there.
People are going to think
We
you're
went
serious.
to Disneyland. We bought the bucket. We went
And then
straight to the
left.
airport and came back.
Yeah, exactly. No, that is not true. We also went to a birthday party
I suppose.
and
Okay,
the
okay.
Getty and Yosemite.
Okay. So
But
I guess it was a little bit more
it's
than that.
fun.
Yes, it is.
And honestly, in Disney Dreamlight Valley that I play, they have so many of the park's items that it kind of made me wish I had gotten one of those balloon things. Because they've been doing those balloon-shaped popcorn things for a while. Since
That is
the...
true. I mean, it is a nice popcorn bucket.
Yeah,
But
it's
they are
fun.
just so big.
They are big. Did you see the gingerbread house
I did
that he
see
pulled
the
up? Like, what are
gingerbread.
your thoughts on that?
It looks like a gingerbread house.
It looks like a gingerbread house, but like a very plastic one.
I mean,
So
if your thoughts, are you asking me if I want to have it?
no, I know you
do
don't
not.
want to have it. It could look like the nickel tour book, and you still wouldn't want it.
That would be a good one.
But the thing is if you're gonna collect it, even it still has the strap on it, and then you can take the strap off. But it still has the little knobby thing. So it's not like you can just use it to decorate with. But I'm sure some people do. I don't
I'm
know.
sure people do.
I feel like I've asked before if people collect popcorn buckets when we've talked about
You know
things
that they
before.
do. Not everyone
But
does,
like, what do you do with them? Do you have them on display?
Or
Whoa.
in the closet. I'm sure there are people who have very
Oh, that
elaborate
reminds
displays.
me. Seeing all of the old regular bucket
Oh, yeah,
size
the
buckets.
regular buckets.
We used to collect resort mugs too, and I still have
When you say we, you mean you.
my family.
Okay.
Yes.
Pre-me.
Right. When I would go with my mom and we would get whatever. I mean, guys, they used to make, I mean, you probably know if you're listening to this, you're into Disney history, but the mugs used to be, you did not put them in a cup holder.
No,
They were like a giant coffee mug that was like, I don't know, 5 inches across.
maybe 12.
No, not 12. But they were just
might be
very
exaggerating.
silly. And you
Very
were,
big.
people didn't walk
thick.
around the parks with them at all. But
They would now. You
It's
see
just
people
so
walking
funny
around the
to look
parks
at those.
with the 40-ounce
that's a good point. That Disney should
Things now.
bring back a retro
and the
edition.
Stanleys.
Because they were
People-
insulated too. I mean, they look huge, but it really probably held like maybe 10 ounces because it was this double
So
insulated
imagine carrying
thing.
4 of those around for 40 ounces.
Yeah, that's
That's
true.
what people do now.
No, it is, but we have to stay hydrated.
That is true because
I really like these
you
because
didn't
they-
have to stay hydrated before, but now you do.
I
We-
feel like all of
science.
the art on them is so like charmingly retro.
Right,
It's all
and they
very
were
basic.
unique to each
And it
resort.
was unique to each resort.
I
and that
definitely
was-
had one of those Port Orleans ones.
Instead of
this
just
Port Orleans
having
one,
a
it's like
single one.
3 colors on
Yeah.
the whole thing. It's very subtle.
I had a Port Orleans one, and I'm pretty sure
You
a
had
beach
all
club.
of them, I think.
Well, I didn't stay everywhere back in the day. And then the Osborne lights, when that first started,
Family
had,
spectacle of dancing lights.
yeah, they had a version of those big old mugs as well. And you would get hot chocolate in there.
When you say you don't mean me because I didn't get those.
I'm saying the general you.
The generic you for everyone else.
Yes. And then somewhere along the way, they were like, oh, we should make these thin because now strollers exist with,
gosh, with
that
the
one looks really
strollers.
familiar too, with the Mickey surfing. Strollers exist and have cup holders, and also cars have cup holders. I was talking to
Sometimes
someone
strollers
about
actually house children. They can't walk.
every now and then. I was talking to, I think, Gio semi-recently about how in the 80s cars didn't have cup holders.
That is true.
And a present for my dad most years was like a travel mug, which had just been invented in the 80s, I guess, or maybe the late 70s. And it would just be like a weird triangle shaped mug with like foam
Oh,
rubber on the
wow.
bottom. So you would put it on your dashboard. Yeah, there's
Okay.
one like that.
Interesting.
And
So that you could actually, okay.
yeah, and like because the dashboards were these huge things, they weren't
They were
ergonomic or
monstrosity
anything.
things. And you also had large the front seat was just a giant bench that went
Yeah.
all the way across. That was at least 3 or 4 people across as well.
Exactly. So yeah, and then like places like we didn't have 7-Elevens near us, but we had like I don't even know what they were called actually.
In my day, they were called 7-Eleven.
I don't know. It was some weird. We just called it like a convenient mart or something. I don't know. But anyway, they would like sell
The Quickie
their
Mart.
own. It wasn't the Quickie Mart, but they would sell their own branded thing. Yeah, look at that. Post Toasties. That was literally my dad's favorite
I
cereal.
remember Post Toasties. Absolutely.
I did not know they made a travel
There's that
mug.
and then the 40% bran flakes.
And then you could go in the mall and go to like those candle stores, and they would have like pottery
Wicks and
versions
things.
of the travel mugs. That's pretty funny. And you would just
I have never heard of this before, by the way. Just
Was it called Wicks and things or Wicks and Sticks?
Wicks and sticks.
Because the
Maybe.
candlesticks.
I don't know. That's going to be another Googling thing. Yeah, isn't that funny? It's just like things like that I should do a reel about it, when people do all those 80s reels and
That's
stuff.
true.
Yeah, and then that would be an interesting thing, like which car had the first cup holder. Probably when minivans came out, I guess. They were like, wait a minute, we should make holders for
And we
people.
should have 17 of them in the entire car.
Well, there probably wasn't 17 when they first came out.
No. And then they started getting bigger and bigger to house all the different sized mugs.
We remember a time when minivans had one door on one side.
I know.
The other
Just-
side
wait,
didn't
just-
even have a door.
Wait, what?
I mean,
How did
the
you
sliding
get in
door.
on the other side.
You had to get in
didn't.
on one side and walk over, scooch over.
When in the mid 70s when I had a Volkswagen bus, there was also only one sliding door.
Oh yeah, that's
But
probably
it
what
was
they
also
modeled them
manual.
after.
No, there was no button. that
No, it was
automatically
definitely
opened the
manual.
door.
Yeah. And
That was very fancy.
a friend of mine, when I lived in Ocala, had a Ford Aerostar, which
Whoa.
in my mind was the first minivan. I don't know if that's true or not.
I have
but-
no idea.
All right, we've gotten way off the Disney topic now, but I guess we were doing resort mugs, so we kind of got there naturally. But anyway,
yes,
they
we
changed
should.
the resort mug size to fit in cup holders. And then a few years back, when they homogenized all of Disney parks and resorts merchandise for the most
Both
part.
Disneyland and Disney World.
Yeah. So now there's just
Disney parks.
resort mug and you can get it and it's the same everywhere. They have started making them cuter than what is currently up on our screen. They will try to include,
Rude.
well, it was just like a weird Pop Mickey thing. Is that actually themed to
It's got the
Pop Century?
logo
Okay, so
on it.
that is a Pop Century
You
specific
can't tell
one.
because it says groovy. and
Yeah, that's
what's up.
why I thought, because I saw the what's up and I was like, oh, okay. But now they are kind of cute. The most recent ones I've seen, they've been doing better artwork on them, but I still do not enjoy those mugs because they're just
Yeah, just because they're cute doesn't mean you have to get them.
no. I have no interest in getting
Well, that's good. That's
those mugs
progress
because I have a
That's what that
40
is.
ounce,
that you carry
Corksicle.
into the parks.
right? And I
With
have
you.
another one that has a handle on it that's easier to carry. That has my
Yes.
little
I mean,
stickers.
and I help carry it.
Yeah. I do have a Corksicle, like, baby carrier to put my giant Corksicle in. Which is actually convenient, but I just hate having things on me when I'm in a park. I don't know how people do, like, backpacks full of stuff
No clue.
in the heat.
I guess it's more of a trudgery,
Yes, trudgery.
if that's a word.
Going back to the Disney collectible thing,
Yes.
I asked you, I think, and I already don't remember what your answer
Wait,
was.
no, I actually did not have an official answer of what,
For your
like, what was
prized
my
possession?
most prized.
Yeah, that's not a book.
possession. That's not a book.
You should think of that or have one.
I
And
mean,
if not, I should get you one.
What if I said that you were my most prized? Uh-oh. Be careful.
It's okay. You can claim me.
I claim you. If you want me, come and claim me. Possession. No, I don't know. That's a good question.
Well, I only say that because I've asked you what your favorite book is, and I kind of know the answer, or at least then you say I have a top 44 or something.
It's 41, but it's probably now 141.
Oh my gosh. I guess some
But
of the
I've
most
al-
recent ones you have like.
Oh, I've got some really nice
But
books.
what's the weirdest book you have besides
I
the
think you know-
55 story?
I think you know which one is the weirdest one. It's not an official Disney sanctioned book. In fact, it's actually from a series of books that has nothing to do with Disney. You know how, like,
Oh, like the Kingdom Keepers?
that's Disney.
Is it?
Yes, it is. It's very much Disney. But I mean, like the Sue Grafton alphabet novels,
Oh,
for
yeah.
example. You know, I mean, there's a series where it has the same character who solves a mystery.
Oh, okay.
This
I'm not
one-
into mysteries.
Right. But this one was from the Liz Austin series, written by, I think, Eric Wilson.
Wait,
But-
what? Why wasn't it written by Liz Austin?
No, Liz Austin is the name of the character
Oh.
who's in every one of the Liz
Sorry.
Austin books.
Like Nancy Drew.
Like Nancy Drew.
Got it.
That's a great example also. Or the Hardy Boys. Anyway, but
I
this
didn't read
one
the Hardy Boys ones.
was called, are you ready for this? Disneyland Hostage. Now, we actually have talked about this before on a very long ago previous episode. But this is probably...
I don't remember and blocked it out, so
This
tell
is
me again.
easily the weirdest book. And what's funny is on the cover of this book, which once again is not an official Disney book, it's got the Disneyland Sleeping Beauty Castle on one side, and it's got this one guy who I believe was Cuban. In this particular novel, I believe the Cubans were the...
Was this during the Cuban Missile Crisis?
No, this was from the 80s. But anyway, he's
From
holding...
the 90s?
No, 80s.
Oh, sorry.
But on the cover, he's holding a girl who's the niece of the of the main, the Liz Austin, hostage. So she's blindfolded, and she has like these. What do you call the things?
A bandolier.
A bandolier.
It's a very disturbing image, I have to say,
and
in 2024.
And it's assumed that he's holding her at gunpoint, although I don't think you can see any guns. And then off in the distance, up in the air, there's a helicopter who's kind of going around. Anyway, it's a very silly, like a youth novel. Where,
how did they? Sorry.
So anyway, the hero is visiting Tom Sawyer Island at Disneyland, and that is when the enemies come by, and they basically shut down. They commandeer the fort on the island, and they have some demands, and they keep all of the guests that just happen to be in the fort on Tom Sawyer Island hostage.
Wow,
it's a fun novel.
What I was going to say, interrupting you, was how did they get away with using Disneyland?
That is a
as
great.
the name?
Well, I mean, I guess this was before Disney became very litigious, and with their excellent lawyers.
What was the publishing year of that?
I want to say
82.
Okay, 82. So this is
time.
even pre-Eisner.
Yeah.
But I mean, the title of the book is Disneyland Hostage. It's not like random Disney park hostage. No, it's Disneyland Hostage. It takes place at Disneyland in Anaheim, California.
Wow.
So.
And there seems to be an updated cover now.
Yeah, there is an updated cover, but it needs to be repeated. This is not an official Disney sanctioned book. You will not find this for sale in the parks in any way. But that's probably the weirdest one. And I have talked about it before, but before I became an official Disney book collector, my mother, I believe for my birthday, gifted me that book.
That's pretty funny.
Because I was kind of into Disneyland at the time.
And she didn't want you to become a hostage.
Probably not. Yeah.
I feel like hostages were probably a popular topic back then. Wasn't there a hostage crisis?
Well,
at
yeah,
some
there was
point
the
in
Iran.
80s?
There was the Iran hostages that they were for 444 days.
Wow.
In
I have vague memories
in
of
the
that.
late it basically went over from Jimmy Carter's last days in the White House to Ronald Reagan. Yeah. Like, if you were to ask me, what is your second weirdest book? I don't know if I would even have an answer for that.
Thinking if I should ask that, and I was like, I don't know what he's going to answer. So
I really don't know. I'd have to really think. And I do have a lot of books. But that, honestly, see, when I talk about, and I think I have done this in a long ago previous episode where I talked about the most meaningful books in my life.
I think, was this when you used to do, we used to do the live show, and one time Chris and I were seeing an escape room media event, and you did a live show by
Just
yourself.
solo,
and I
yeah.
think it was then that you talked
Where I
about
was
books.
basically going through all the books. Yeah.
Yeah, because
that's right.
that must be why I don't remember you talking about the hostage book.
But yeah, it was basically just talking about all the meaningful books, and it definitely started with that Storyland book, but like before I turned 18 or so, and finally went out and became a solo person in this world, leaving the nest. There were probably, by that point, I really only had maybe 5 to 10 Disney books.
Wow.
And so, those were the ones that were very meaningful to me. The ones that I discovered along the way.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure if you were so inclined, you could find a lot of weird Disney books, but you've only ever wanted, for the most part, official books or history books, stuff like that.
Official history books. They do tend to be either about company history, especially the parks, any aspects of the parks, or Disney history, the World's Fair, that kind of thing. But I also do have quite a few books also on animation and the history of Disney animation, and the art books about each of the Disney animated features. But it currently numbers in the 4 digits is the number of volumes that I currently have in my Disney library. It's a pretty extensive collection. Ooh, it's a lot. I need to read them all. I've been setting aside some time to read a lot of these books. I have more books than I can possibly read. I'm trying to read all of them, every word in every book. I can't be done, but I'm trying.
Well, I believe in you.
Oh, thanks. I just
I'm
need
not
more
going to
time.
read any of them.
You should. There's so many good ones.
No,
there.
I definitely should, but I do not have the amount of free
Right.
time to read.
One of the things I'd
I
like
wanna
to do eventually is have another go at just talking about some of the really great books that have been released in the past 5 years or so.
Yeah, you're really into that Mark Davis book.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. But I do believe that made that episode. Mm-hmm. So.
And since then, you've gotten a few that came out right
Indeed.
around the. I've said it every single episode, I think, but I'm going to do it again.
What?
The Disney D23 Ultimate Fan Experience.
I'm going to call it
event.
the D23 Expo.
I already don't remember it.
D23 Expo.
Anyway.
From 2024?
Yeah.
Yeah,
so
we
you got a
quite
few books.
Yes,
there.
yes, we did. And several you actually got for me that I did not expect, and that was very kind of you.
You should always expect the books because you need to keep your collection going.
That is true. But they're all so fun, and I could talk a very long time about each and every one of them. A lot of them were coupled with a presentation at the D23 Expo. So there would be a talk from an Imagineer, for example, who's talking about his life and career. And then, oh, by the way, I have a book coming out. And all of everything that I've just said can be found in this book. And I'm talking about Bob Weiss when I'm talking about that one in particular.
Yeah.
But that was a good one, too.
Very true. I'm still
Thank
waiting
you.
for...
Chasing Dreams.
Oh, sorry.
No,
what?
go ahead. What are you still waiting for?
I'm still waiting for a new Walt Disney biography that's not a tell-all, but like... I mean, it probably will never happen, but I want like more to the story.
Well...
Not like bad stuff,
No,
but
I
just
know.
like real stuff.
And that's a lot of people have done phenomenal jobs doing that where they've done it in blog form. You'll find a lot of that actually in the Walt Disney Family Museum blog that they have there that's affiliated with the museum in the Presidio over there in San Francisco.
I know it well.
They delve into Walt's personal history a lot.
Really? Is it like
No, really.
no holds barred, or is it like he was still a great
no,
guy?
No.
I mean, I'm not saying he's not a great guy.
That's the
I'm
thing
just
about
saying-
that museum. The museum is a warts and all telling of the man, not just the company, but the man. And it's not all whitewashed and made pretty. There's some pretty nasty, ugly things in there too.
Maybe I want a tell-all on Lillian Disney. Maybe that's what I really am looking for. Because she
there
looks
is not.
so unhappy in almost every photo of her. I feel
She
like there
was-
must have been so much.
She was a tolerant woman.
I guess maybe. I mean, yeah. I don't know.
Yeah,
it's just I feel like
honestly,
there's more
there
to
is,
that.
as far as I know, there is no bio on Lillian.
Yeah, maybe I should write one, but I don't even know where to start. Did she keep a diary? I don't know.
I don't believe so. Maybe.
Well, what did we start out with? My weird Disney
Yeah, you
stuffed
the
animals
strange
and stuff?
toys.
Strings
yeah,
and
the collectibles and
up
toys.
to Lillian Disney needing a biography about her. I mean, we've come full circle.
that I would define that as being full circle.
I think we went on a weird, straight, squiggly line, rather.
A lot of squiggles. That's
Yeah.
okay.
And we're still going.
I
But you'll
could
have
see,
to stay tuned for next week because we're done for now. The next episode you will be getting from us is a deep dive.
Oh my.
Are you excited? Are you ready?
I'm not yet ready. I'd still have some more research to do, but I am excited. I
You
do love
have-
these.
30 seconds.
Oh my.
Just kidding.
You have got a minute and a half.
I guess maybe I'll do some research. I don't know. Maybe I'll just sit here and look at you and you can do all the talking.
I think you should look into it a little bit too.
Okay. We'll be prepared. That's going to do it for this week up the waterfall. Thank you so much for joining us. I hope you enjoyed our silly little meanderings.
I would call it banter.
We would love to hear from you and what this made you think of from your childhood or your old-timey visits and weird Disney collections or current Disney collections. Let us know. We'd love to hear from you. And make sure you are following and liking and subscribing to all the places. It's Up the Waterfall Show most everywhere. You can listen to us on Apple Podcasts or anywhere you get podcasts, which you're probably doing right now. And you can also listen watch on YouTube. And you can just search for Up the Waterfall, or you can go to youtube.com/Zannaland. Make it easier.
Yeah.
I think that's less letters.
And it's a fun word.
Sure. All right. Well, thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time up the waterfall.
Bye now.
And a meow from Oatmeal.
Meow, 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 meow.